Hello, this is Chris Robbins, or Stobe as most of you know me, and I wanted to take a minute to show you my new plugin called the AppTransformer. So thank you for watching this demonstration. I'm going to start off first by telling you a little bit about it, and then showing you a couple demonstrations on how to use it, and then I'll show you behind the scenes of how it works and how you can use it in your projects. So in a nutshell, the AppTransformer plugin is going to let you transform your app from using one config file to another. So as a quick review for anybody that's maybe not quite familiar with how the config files work, if we go into a project here, you can see that this is my configuration data for this demo that I'm going to show you, and it's got all the config data that makes up the app, all the screens, the menus, the tabs if there are any, and then the important stuff up here, the data URL. So the data URL is going to connect this app, once it's running, back to the control panel at buzztouch.com, or the control panel at your self-hosted control panel, and any changes that you make, of course, are going to propagate out to the app, and you can make changes real time. So that's what's going to happen, is we're going to change what happens inside the app of which data URL it's using or which config file. So there's a couple different ways to use it, and I'm going to demo those right now. So what I'm going to show here is just a very simple app. It only has a couple screens. Let me go ahead and launch it. And you can see it starts off with a simple menu list with 3 choices here, 3 of my favorite restaurants, and each one just leads off to just a simple web page. So let's make sure all these work and load up. So here's Steak and Shake's nice website, nice responsive website. Let's see what they got specials going on. Oh, free milkshakes, nothing wrong with that. Whoa, pepperoni pizza burger. Okay, enough of that. I know where I'm going tomorrow. Tia's Tex-Mex, same thing. Nice little ugly website. And then Buca de Bepo's, a great place to eat. And I already checked, there is a couple in Las Vegas. So if you guys are going to be there, I'll be happy to pig out with you guys. So very simple. Simple menu list, non-tabbed app, 3 choices, piece of cake. So what I've got here in the context menu is a function here that's called transform to tabbed. So when I tap that, it's just going to refire the app, basically do a force refresh, and it's going to take what seems to be the same app and just load the 3 choices here into 3 tabs instead of using a list menu. And then I can go back up here, transform back to non-tabbed. It's going to refire it, and then there it is. So let's take a look real quick at how that's working. Over here in my Xcode, you can see that I've got my normal BT config text, and this is all the same stuff that we looked at in the control panel. And then I've got another config text here called tabbed. What tabbed is just another copy of the same config text, but where I actually added in tabs instead of using a non-tabbed app. So let's look to see how that actually works in the control panel. If I look in here, this is just the regular demo, and if I look at the layout, then you can see that it's just using the home screen menu, and it's a non-tabbed app. But in this example, I've got 2 actual control panels. This is AppTransformer Demo 2, same screens, just a different layout. So this layout uses the 3 tabs to configure it. So there's actually 2 different apps in my control panel, and when I tap back and forth between forcing those configs to switch over, basically if you were to look at these data URLs, it's just pointing to different apps. So in this scenario, I can actually have 2 completely separate apps running in my control panel, and I could edit them independently, and somebody could switch back and forth for whatever reason. This is just a very simple example. I don't think that anybody would ever use this particular plugin to do, just switch between tabbed and non-tabbed, but you could do anything. You could change the background colors of of menus. You could put a setting screen up to let people make their own choices on some settings, and it would force into the config file and just all kinds of stuff like that. So that's just a very simple example. So this next example is going to be probably a little bit neater, a little bit more in depth, but it's just going to show you a different way that you can use it. So I've got AppTransformer 3 loaded up here. I'm going to fire that off into the simulator. And as it loads, you're going to see that I've got just a simple menu here for some awesome quiz app. And you can see I've got level 1 is ready to play, and then I've got a couple more levels that look like they're locked. So right now, currently, not an easy thing to do built in without making a custom plugin like this. But let's see how it works. So I'm going to fire off the level 1 quiz. Hopefully I can get the answers right. Luckily I made the answers up myself, or the questions up myself, so I've got an inside advantage. So I'm going to fire off an answer there. It says yay, continue, and then now this is where this screen right here is actually the AppTransformer screen. So in the other example I had an AppTransformer plugin screen, but it fired off automatically and there was no interaction at all. This time I actually put up a screen and have a button that the user can tap, and that's going to actually fire off the AppTransformer plugin. So this is actually running a plugin. You just set up, just like any other plugin, you set up a background color, some kind of background image, and then it's going to give you a button that you can press, and you can put this button anywhere. It can be any size. I'll show you that in the control panel. So let's tap this button. It fires off the the reconfiguration. It's going to force refresh it, and now it's refreshed to a version of this app that has both levels unlocked. So if I go into level 2, start the quiz. Very simple question again. Yay, I got it right. Continue. Same thing, I got to another screen. This could, of course, be a different background. It could be different text here. This is just a graphic image that you can put in for any graphic picture that you can make in Photoshop. And I tap that, refreshes the app, and now level 3 is unlocked. We can take that one. Let's try this one. Oh, okay. I'm so smart. And then unlock. And then boom. So this is actually 4 different versions of the same app that are running, and let me show you how that works here in Xcode. If we look over here, I've got the main BT config text, which is where the app actually launched at, and it had let me see if I can find here button 3. Here's button 3. It shows that this was a locked button picture, and then button 4 should have been the same, and if we find button 2, same thing. So button 1 was the only one that actually had a picture here, and then everything else was a locked button, and they didn't go anywhere. So when that happens, when I went through level 1, the success screen fires off the AppTransformer plugin down here called Unlock Level 2, and that's going to force this new config text, which I have called level 2 unlock.txt. So this is the same exact app and the same control panel, and I'll show you that just in a second. And now if we look at, let's see, level 2 actually has a button picture now, and then level 3 and level 4 are going to be the locked buttons. So let's look at that. If we look at level 3 and level 4 unlock text, they're going to be very similar. It just builds and finally unlocks all 4 pictures, changes all 4 pictures. You can even do something neat like when you complete level 1 and it unlocks level 2, you can make a different graphic image here in the config text that shows like a little green check mark. Very similar to how you might see like Angry Birds or that type of game. So let's go to the control panel and look at AppTransformer 3. So in this case, I had the home screen, which happens to be another plugin that I wrote. I had a couple different quizzes, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and then by completing level 1, it's going to fire off this unlock level 2 AppTransformer plugin. So let's look to see inside the plugin and see what happens. First thing I need to tell it is what is the config file that I want to go to. Now every app that starts would normally by default start with bt_config.txt. So anything that you use the AppTransformer for is going to be a different version of that. So in our first example, I had two completely different config text pointing to two completely different apps. You can see those both back up here again. The control panel for AppTransformer Demo and Demo 2. In this case, everything points to the same control panel. I'm just changing a couple settings manually by editing the text in those config files, and this is what it unlocks. So the only other settings that we have to worry about, we give it a screen to, or a config text to fire off to, and then the button properties. First question is, does it need a button? And you would say no it does not, or yes it does need a button to transform. Here's the button picture, the X and Y coordinates, and then the width and the height of the image. So that's what we saw when we saw that little picture down here that said unlock next level. That's just this, it was this picture here. So that's all it takes to use this AppTransformer plugin. I know that you guys are going to come up with a lot better examples than what I've shown here, but just wanted to kind of give you a taste of what it can do. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And thank you for watching this demo.